So when I was a child, excuse me, my 8-year different sister was home with me that day. And my mother, who was at work, she was cleaning with another one of my sisters. And my 6-year different sister was also in the house, but I was outside playing. And my 8-year different sister was inside of our childhood house. I say childhood house because I got there when I was 3. Excuse me. My mother had left my father because she said that I said when I was going potty that my father had tickled me. And I was crying because I was irritated. I was cooking eggs in the kitchen when I was 2. My family was in the living room watching TV. I went into the kitchen, I know for myself. I went into the refrigerator. I turned on the stove. I put the pan on the stove that my mother would use to cook eggs. I'm in the kitchen cooking an egg on a gas stove in the kitchen while my family is in the living room watching TV. So, my mother says to my 8-year different sister, "Who is cooking?" Excuse me. My mother is up on her feet by that time and in the kitchen standing next to me, and she asked me, "What are you doing?" Now, I can admit that the egg was not in there perfect, but that egg was in there cooking. So, with this allegation against my father, I don't remember anything of it that my mother said, but my mother, suffering from abuse trauma, saw it otherwise. So, therefore, she left my father because of her own suspicions, separating me from him under these allegations. He was in town. He has a wife and children in other places in the South and in Chicago, right? So he's already going through a lot. My aunts were killed. He's got a lot, excuse me, that he's dealing with as a man in the system and still trying to work and having only a 3rd grade reading level. So all of that has to matter, right? He's Choctaw. My mother said that my father gave her an enema after she got sick. After giving birth to me, she almost died. They told her if she has any more children, she will hemorrhage to death. I'm the youngest of 11. Excuse me. I have 2 sets of twin brothers. They're fraternal, though, not identical. So I like identical twins because I love the way they bounce their brains off of each other. That is intriguing to me. But my fraternal brothers are like the same way. But often I find that fraternal twins are really Jekyll and Hyde. Whereas identical twins, not so much. But then there are identical twins where one is Jekyll and the other one is not Hyde. So, excuse me. Anyway, back to my 8 years different sister and me being outside playing at our childhood home. Um, this is what happened. I was outside playing, and this next door neighbor that we had, whose family were also Jehovah's Witnesses, his parents were, but this child was very bad child. He was not a good child at this time until afterwards. I wanted to jump rope on the street right in front of our house, which we lived on a cul-de-sac. And so we knew everybody in the neighborhood, like my family knows everybody. So I'm trying to jump rope, and this kid from the corner, right next door to us, he's riding his bike. And every time he's riding his bike, he's trying to run me over. Well, he succeeds in running me over, and he knocks the wind out of me. But my 8-year different sister, she's over there coding me and telling me, you jump rope, you play, I'm watching you. She's right there at the screen door, but he can't see her because my mom always keeps the inside dark, is what she tells us, right? Outside in, inside out. Whatever it is outside, do it the opposite on the inside, right? So it's dark in there, he can't see, but I see her silhouette. I know she's there. I know who's standing there. It's not my 6-year different sister, it's my 8-year different sister. So all I want to do is jump rope. I'm right in front of my own home. So I'm jump roping and he hits me, he knocks me over. And I kid you not, my 8-year different sister was out there with her belt off and she was beating him on his back. She beat that little white boy, and he wasn't so little because he was older than her. She beat him on his back like he was a slave. That boy never messed with me. He never talked to me again. And then my mother went over there and had conversation with his parents about all of it. Because this boy used to torment me. But then there was another boy who lived up the block the other way because we had 2 cul-de-sacs right there, right? So that was the block. And this boy who was a cousin through my father's connections, mostly, more than likely, his homie status, but his sister was one of my best friends. She was my best friend. She is in my 12-year birthday photos with me. She is smaller than me, but she is older than me. She's just a little tiny thing, right? And I'm just wondering, like, did it all go wrong? Like, is she over there? Is that her? But she was abused, right? And it was her brother who was a track star at the school that I went to with them both. And he was so bad because I had some really good friends that were a white family, really, really poor. I spent a lot of time with them. I was allowed to because I was understanding things that were bad that were going on. The parents were truckers, they were gone all the time, and the kids were always on the CB, which I loved, excuse me. Everything's being intercoded, right? So I'm listening to all of these hustles. What do you all think was going on? There are grown men in the neighborhood having sex with their 13, 14, 16-year-old kids. Their youngest sister was also older than me, was having full-blown sexual relations with my best homie, who I was always on the field playing ball with. He was a baller, like he was a fighter. He was like a little spitfire, right? And then his brother and the little white girl who was my best friend, who was also my black best friend's friend, right? Everybody's friends, right? We're all homies, so we're all there. And everybody's having this, and there's total perverts, older dudes on the block. My sisters can tell you, like, just straight up, just no good for nothing, right? All of this stuff is going on the block, and then I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you guys about it, but I don't know nothing. You all don't know nothing. No matter where you sit, you don't know nothing. But you are what you say you are. Well, then who are you? From which land do you come from that you act like you don't know what's going on? Like I'm dum dum over here. I'm Bobo the Dodo now. Yeah, I like the nerve. I like that nerve. Yeah. And this is the same sister that saved my life on a roller coaster ride. Stopped me from falling out of it because the guy did not put down my harness over my head the proper way, and I noticed it and I tried to tell him and he ignored me. But she didn't see that part because he was too busy tucking her in before after he tucked me in, he went to her side and tucked her in. He came back to my side and I told him because from my side is where he closed the gate and then activated the ride. The whole activation for the ride box was right there by my seat. That's where we got on at the gate. It wasn't pushed down all of the way and I wasn't strong enough. I was trying to put my hands like tucked under, like you're going to do a, a pull up on the top of the harness to try to pull it down between my legs where it was supposed to clip. Because I heard my sister's, hers clipped twice and mine only clipped one time. And I noticed it. And he activated that ride. He was irritated with me. And my sister just tried to calm me. She tapped me on my leg. She's like, it's going to be fun, right? And I'm like, no. And sure enough, mid between the ride, where it's getting ready to loop upside down, excuse me, we're getting ready to turn into the loop, and my harness flips up above my head, and my sister's arm comes across me and pins me into my seat. She held me in my seat the entire ride. Ask her about what her arm felt like afterwards. You know, stuff like that, real stuff.